My name is Saffron Lee. I live in the kind of Ohio suburb where the houses all look the same, but everyone pretends theirs is special. White fences, perfectly trimmed lawns, smiling neighbors who ask how you are but don't really care about the answer. To them, I'm the quiet woman at the end of the cul-de-sac. To me, or at least I was, a researcher who dedicated 20 years of my life to a project that should have defined my career. The year was 2022. I was 42 years old, and I thought I had finally reached the moment when all my late nights, all the coffee-fueled weekends, all the missed birthdays and anniversaries would finally pay off. My work wasn't glamorous. No shiny inventions or miracle drugs. It was data, endless, exhausting data. But I had found patterns in it that no one else had noticed. Patterns that could change the way our company, and maybe the entire industry, understood consumer behavior. For months, I guarded those findings like treasure. My notebooks were filled with scribbled equations, my laptop bursting with drafts and charts. And maybe, just maybe, I trusted too much, trusted the wrong person. Her name was Kelly, 26. Bright, ambitious, with that kind of confidence that comes from never having failed. She was my coworker, my so-called junior associate. She used to look at me with admiration, or at least I thought she did. Always asking questions, always lingering a little too long at my desk. I saw myself in her, younger, hungrier, desperate to prove something. So I let her in. I showed her the notes, the raw files, the simulations. She nodded, she learned, she smiled. And then, one morning, I walked into the office, coffee in hand, ready for another long day. I remember the way the fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, how the cheap carpet smelled faintly of disinfectant. I sat at my desk, checked my email, and my heart stopped. "Congratulations to Kelly Moore on her groundbreaking presentation yesterday," the subject line read. I blinked. My stomach turned cold. I clicked, and there it was, a company-wide announcement, praising Kelly for my research. My years of work, my data, my analysis, my everything, presented as hers. At first, I thought it was a mistake. Maybe she had mentioned me. Maybe someone just forgot to include my name. But then I scrolled, paragraph after paragraph, praising her vision, her innovative methods, her groundbreaking discovery. My name wasn't anywhere, not a footnote, not even a whisper. I felt my face burn, my hands shook, the office around me blurred, people's chatter turning into static. I couldn't breathe. By lunchtime, everyone was congratulating her. "You're amazing, Kelly. Brilliant work." And she smiled at me. Smiled like she hadn't just stabbed me in the back. Smiled like I should be proud of her. I wanted to scream, to grab her by the shoulders and demand, "Why?" But all I managed was a weak, "Congrats." That night, I drove home in silence, the radio off. The world outside my windshield was a blur of headlights and shadows. At home, I poured myself a glass of wine, sat at my kitchen table, and just stared. 20 years of work, gone, stolen. I didn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her smile. That smug, empty smile. My chest felt heavy, shame, rage, helplessness. The next week was worse. Management called her into meetings I was excluded from. She walked around the office like a queen, holding her head high, while I sat in the background like furniture. Nobody questioned it. Nobody asked me. They just assumed she was the genius, and I was nothing. Depression hit me hard. I stopped eating. I stopped caring about how I looked. I dragged myself to work only to endure another day of humiliation. At one point, I even thought, maybe I should just quit. Maybe I didn't have the strength to fight back. But then, one afternoon, as I sat at my desk scrolling through emails, I noticed something, a tiny detail. Kelly had uploaded a file to the shared drive, a draft of a new report. She must have copied it from mine because there, in the metadata, was my name. Author, Saffron Lee. My pulse quickened, my mind sharpened. That was the moment, the first crack in her shiny, stolen facade. And I realized, maybe I wasn't as powerless as I thought. Because if she stole from me, maybe I could steal something back. Something bigger. Something that would destroy her carefully built lie. And for the first time in weeks, I felt something other than despair. I felt a spark, the beginning of an idea. But to pull it off, I would need patience, precision. and a kind of coldness I'd never dared to summon before. I stared at my computer screen, a faint smile creeping across my lips. Kelly thought she had won. She had no idea what was coming. The moment I saw my name buried in that file's metadata, something inside me shifted. It was like a match struck in the dark. For weeks I'd been drowning in humiliation, barely holding myself together. But now I had proof. Proof that Kelly had stolen from me. It wasn't enough yet. A single file wouldn't take her down. But it was a thread, and I could pull it. That night, instead of crying at my kitchen table, I stayed awake at my desk, poring over every document on the shared drive. And you know what I found? Dozens of them. Dozens of my files, copied, renamed, polished, with her name plastered across the top. But the metadata, it didn't lie. Every single one still had my name hidden beneath the surface. I remember whispering to myself, she's careless. She thinks she's untouchable. For the first time in weeks, I slept soundly. The next day, I started collecting. Quietly, secretly, I copied every single file onto an external hard drive. Notes, drafts, charts, even emails where she had forwarded my research to her personal account. The deeper I dug, the angrier I got. She hadn't just stolen a presentation. She had built an entire career on my back. Meetings with management, interviews with industry magazines, even a rumor that she was being considered for an award. Every time I saw her strut through the office, head high, fake smile plastered on her face, my blood boiled. But rage wasn't enough. If I lashed out too soon, I'd look desperate. If I accused her without evidence, they'd call me bitter, jealous, unstable. That's what women like me, over 40, overlooked, underestimated, were always labeled. No, I needed a plan, something undeniable, something that would crush her, not just in the office, but publicly. One evening, I sat at my kitchen counter with my laptop open and a glass of whiskey in my hand. The house was quiet except for the hum of the fridge. My reflection stared back at me from the darkened window. Tired eyes, unkempt hair, but a sharpness I hadn't seen in a long time. This isn't over, I whispered to myself. The plan came slowly, piece by piece, like a puzzle. Step 1, collect the evidence, done. Step 2, trace the timeline. I still had emails going back years, showing when I first discovered the patterns, when I built the models. I'd saved drafts on my personal laptop too. Everything had a date stamp, a trail she couldn't erase. Step 3, find the right moment. If I leaked this now, management might bury it, protect their rising star. But if I waited until she was at her peak, when she had the most to lose, it would hit harder. I thought about waiting for that award announcement, or maybe her big industry keynote speech next month. The idea of her standing on stage, basking in stolen glory, only for the truth to explode at the same time. The thought sent shivers down my spine. But then, doubt crept in. What if I failed? What if nobody believed me? What if they thought I was the liar, the one desperate for attention? That fear gnawed at me. Some nights, I lay awake staring at the ceiling, my chest tight, imagining myself being laughed out of the company, blacklisted forever. Still, every time I considered backing down, I saw her smug face, heard her voice chirping, "Thanks, everyone. I couldn't have done it without your support." And I clenched my fists. No, I wasn't going to let her win. A week later, the opportunity came. I overheard 2 managers in the break room, whispering excitedly. Kelly had been invited to give a keynote presentation at a major industry conference in Chicago. Hundreds of people, journalists, investors, the perfect stage. My pulse raced. That was it, the moment. All I had to do was make sure the world knew the truth. At the exact moment, she tried to sell the lie. But to do that, I'd need more than just evidence. I'd need a way to make it public. And that's when I thought of the media. There were journalists who loved stories like this. Stories of betrayal, fraud, stolen credit. I still had a contact, an old college friend who worked at a business magazine. She always told me, if you ever have a story worth telling, call me. That night, I opened a blank email, typed her name in the to field, and froze. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. My heart pounded. If I sent this, there was no going back. I could blow the whistle, expose Kelly for what she really was. But I'd also be exposing myself. My name, my work, my life, everything. Was I ready for that? I sat there, staring at the blinking cursor, until my screen blurred with tears. Finally, I closed the laptop. Not yet, not tonight. I needed to be certain. Because if I was going to do this, it had to be perfect. And that's when my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. I frowned, picked it up and read, "I know what she did to you, and I can help." My breath caught. Who could that be? The text glared at me from the screen. "I know what she did to you, and I can help." My first thought was scam, some sick joke. Nobody knew what Kelly had done, not really. Unless someone had been watching. My stomach tightened. I typed back one word, "Who?" The reply came almost instantly. "Someone who hates her as much as you do." I stared at the message, heart hammering. My first instinct was to delete it, to ignore whoever this was. But my curiosity, it gnawed at me. If there was even a chance this person was real, if they had dirt on Kelly, I couldn't look away. I typed again, "Prove it." This time, the reply took longer. I watched the typing bubbles appear and disappear. Finally, "Check her calendar invite for Friday. She lied about where she'll be." My pulse quickened. I opened my laptop, logged into the shared system, and clicked her calendar. Friday, she'd marked client call, remote, but something felt off. I checked the building's room bookings. No call scheduled. I bit my lip, suspicion prickling. Could it be true? That Friday, I waited. I pretended to leave for lunch, but instead I sat in my car across the street, watching, and sure enough, Kelly walked out of the office, heels clicking, phone pressed to her ear, laughing. She didn't head toward a cafe or a client's building. She walked straight into a fancy hotel downtown. My mysterious texter was right. I gripped the steering wheel, torn between fear and exhilaration. Someone else knew. Someone was watching her too. That night I texted back, "What do you want?" The reply, "Justice, same as you. Meet me tomorrow, 7 p.m. Cafe Vero, don't bring anyone." I didn't sleep. I kept pacing my kitchen, glass of wine in hand, wondering if I'd lost my mind. What if this was a trap? What if it was Kelly herself testing me? But something in my gut told me this wasn't her. Kelly didn't have the imagination for this. The next evening, I arrived at Cafe Vero, a dim little place tucked between an antique shop and a laundromat. Rain pattered against the windows, soft jazz playing from the speakers. My hands shook as I stirred my coffee, glancing at every stranger who walked in. Then a man slid into the seat across from me. Mid-30s, sharp suit, hair a little too perfect. He leaned forward, lowering his voice. "You must be Saffron." I froze. "And you are?" He smirked. "Let's just say I've worked with Kelly before, and I know exactly how she operates." I didn't reply. My throat felt dry. "She stole from you, didn't she?" he continued. "Your work, your ideas. She's done it before. I can prove it." My eyes narrowed. "Why should I trust you?" He pulled out a folder and slid it across the table. Inside were printed emails. Different companies, different victims, people describing the same pattern. Kelly had risen fast wherever she went, but always leaving behind whispers, half-broken careers. "She's a parasite," he said flatly, "and parasites only stop when you cut them off." I stared at the papers, my hands trembling. It was real. She had done this before. I wasn't the first. "Why are you showing me this?" I asked quietly. He leaned closer, his tone cold. "Because you're the first one with enough evidence to bury her, but you'll need help. And I want to see her burn just as badly as you do." My heart raced. Part of me screamed not to trust him. He was a stranger. But another part, the part that had been screaming in silence for weeks, leaned forward. "What's in it for you?" I asked. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Call it unfinished business." For a moment, neither of us spoke. The cafe clinked with cups and murmured conversations. The outside world unaware of the storm building at our table. Finally, I whispered, "If we're going to do this, we do it my way. No shortcuts, no sloppiness. We wait for the right moment." He nodded slowly. "Agreed. But remember, the higher she climbs, the harder the fall. We just need to make sure she's standing at the very top when we cut the rope." I shivered. His words felt like a warning and a promise all at once. As I walked out into the rain that night, clutching the folder to my chest, I felt a strange mix of fear and exhilaration. I wasn't alone anymore. But the real question gnawed at me. Who exactly had I just made a deal with? The man never gave me his real name. When I pressed, he only said, "Call me Adler." It sounded fake. But then again, so was everything about Kelly's success. Maybe fake names were appropriate. Adler and I started meeting in quiet places. The cafe, a library corner, sometimes in my car parked under dim streetlights. Always brief, always careful. I didn't know if I could trust him, but every time he handed me another piece of evidence, another thread of Kelly's lies, I couldn't walk away. He showed me her resume, inflated. Entire projects she'd never touched, listed as her own. Testimonials from clients that, when traced, turned out to be written by her boyfriend under fake emails. I remember holding the papers, whispering, "How does nobody see this?" Adler leaned back, smirking. "Because people see what they want to see. She's young, she's charming, she smiles at the right people. Nobody questions the golden girl, until someone makes them." His words stuck with me, and slowly a plan began to take shape. Together, we mapped out Kelly's entire trajectory. Where she'd been, who she'd hurt, when she had stolen, when she had lied. Adler insisted we needed more than my files. We needed a pattern, a story the media couldn't ignore. At first, it felt empowering. For the first time since she stole my work, I wasn't just a victim. I was building a case. I was sharpening a weapon. But late at night, when the house was quiet, doubt crept in. Who was Adler really? Why did he care so much? Why did he have these files? Sometimes I'd catch him watching me with this strange intensity, like he was studying me instead of helping. Still, I told myself, whatever his motives, we wanted the same thing. Kelly exposed, Kelly destroyed. One evening, Adler handed me a USB drive. "This is everything we've got so far. Back it up, hide it. Don't let her catch wind of this." I took it, my fingers trembling. "What if she finds out?" He tilted his head. "Then you better be ready to strike first." That night, I sat at my desk with the USB drive, staring at the blinking cursor on my laptop. One click, and I could open the folder. My heart pounded. Inside, scanned emails, screenshots, financial records, even private photos of Kelly at that hotel, laughing with a man who wasn't her boyfriend. My stomach twisted. "This is dangerous," I whispered. I felt like I was crossing a line, not just gathering evidence, but digging into her private life. Was I any better than her? But then I remembered her smug smile, her name shining on my research. And I clicked. For weeks, Adler and I gathered more. He pushed me to think bigger, not just exposing her to the company, but destroying her entire public image. "Imagine it," he said one night, his voice low. "She's on stage, everyone watching, cameras rolling. And then, boom, the truth drops. Proof undeniable. Her empire collapses in real time." The image lit something inside me. But with every step forward, the paranoia grew. I noticed people staring at me in the office, or maybe I just imagined it. Once, I swore Kelly glanced at my screen as she walked by, her eyes narrowing. At night, I double-locked my doors. I started waking up at 3 a.m., convinced I heard footsteps outside. One evening, I found an envelope shoved under my front door. No name, no return address. Inside, a single photo of me meeting Adler at Cafe Vero. My blood ran cold. Someone was watching us. I called Adler immediately. "What the hell is this? Did you send this?" He sounded calm, almost too calm. "Not me, which means we've got another player in the game." My voice shook. "What if it's Kelly? What if she knows?" "Then we move faster," Adler said. "No more waiting. We hit her before she hits us." But I couldn't shake the chill. My plan for careful precision was slipping out of my hands, turning into something messier, more dangerous. And for the first time, I wondered if I'd started something I couldn't control. That night, as I sat alone in my living room, the photo still on the table, my phone buzzed again. A text. This time, not from Adler. "You're making a mistake. Adler isn't who you think he is." The text froze me in place. "You're making a mistake. Adler isn't who you think he is." I stared at it, my hands trembling. The room felt smaller, the shadows deeper. I typed back quickly, "Who is this?" No response, just silence. The message sat there, heavy, poisonous. I tried again. "What do you know about Adler?" Still nothing. Whoever it was had gone quiet. I set the phone down and pressed my palms to my face. Was this real? Or was someone trying to rattle me? I couldn't tell anymore. The next day at work, Kelly floated through the office like she owned it, her laughter echoing off the cubicles. Every congratulations she received was another stab in my chest. I wanted to scream, to shove the evidence in everyone's face. But Adler had been right about one thing. Timing mattered. If I struck too soon, it might backfire. That night, I met Adler in the back corner of the library. He slid another folder across the table. "Conference agenda," he whispered. "She's going to announce a new initiative, based entirely on your stolen work." I clenched my fists. "She's not going to get away with this." "That's the spirit," Adler said with a smile. But when his eyes met mine, something about his gaze unsettled me. Too sharp, too eager. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Another message. I glanced at it under the table. "Ask him why he left his last company. See what he says." My breath caught. I looked up at Adler, forcing my voice steady. "Why are you doing this? Why do you care about Kelly?" For the first time, his smile faltered. "She ruined me," he said flatly. "That's all you need to know." My skin prickled. It wasn't an answer, not really. When I pushed, he leaned closer, his tone colder. "Don't start doubting me now, Saffron. We're too close." His words chilled me. That night, I sat at home with the two truths battling in my head. Adler had given me real evidence, but the mysterious texter knew things about him I didn't. And if Adler was hiding something, was I just another pawn in his game? The next morning, I decided to dig. I stayed late at the office, pretending to work, while secretly searching online databases. Adler wasn't his real name, I was sure of it. But who was he? Hours passed. My eyes ached. And then I found it. A photo, a corporate article from 3 years ago. His face, younger but unmistakable. The name below, Daniel Hart. I clicked deeper. My stomach dropped. Daniel Hart had been fired from a tech firm after allegations of fraud. Not proven, but enough to stain his career. There were whispers in online forums about him stealing credit, manipulating data. Just like Kelly, my chest tightened. Was that why he hated her? Because she was like him? Or worse? Because they weren't enemies at all, but two of a kind? My phone buzzed again. The anonymous number. "Now you see it. Be careful. He's not helping you. He's using you." I dropped the phone, my pulse hammering in my ears. The next day, Adler, Daniel, called me. "We need to move," he said urgently. "The conference is in 2 weeks. If we're going to ruin her, we strike then." My voice wavered. "Why should I trust you?" There was a pause. Then his tone sharpened. "Because without me, you have nothing." And then he hung up. I stood there in my office, phone pressed to my ear, heart racing. He was wrong. I did have something. The evidence, my files, my timeline. But if he was lying, if he was using me, what did he want in the end? That night, I sat at my desk. Papers spread everywhere, the USB drive glowing faintly beside me. And then, a new message flashed across my phone screen. Not from Adler, not from the anonymous texter. From Kelly. "We need to talk alone. I know you've been digging." The message from Kelly haunted me. "We need to talk alone. I know you've been digging." For hours, I sat staring at my phone, debating. My first instinct was to delete it. Ignore her, stick to the plan. But curiosity gnawed at me. If she really knew I was investigating, if she could sense the walls closing in, maybe this was my chance to see her crack. So I typed back, "Where?" Her reply was almost immediate. "Tomorrow night, Willow Park, 8 p.m. Don't tell anyone." Willow Park, I knew the place. Empty after dark, just a few flickering lampposts and a line of benches under the trees. My stomach tightened. It felt like walking into a trap. But the idea of refusing, it felt worse. The next night, I drove there, hands clenched on the steering wheel. The park was quiet, the air heavy with the smell of damp leaves. A single lamppost glowed weakly near the playground, and there she was. Kelly? She stood with her arms crossed, her blonde hair catching the light, her lips curled into that same smile that had haunted my nightmares for weeks. "Saffron," she said softly, like we were old friends meeting after years. I forced myself to speak. "What do you want?" She tilted her head, studying me. "I know you've been snooping. You think you're clever, copying files, talking to people you shouldn't." My chest tightened. "You stole from me? My work? My life? You're the thief here." Her smile faltered for just a second. Then she laughed. "You really believe that, don't you?" I blinked. "What the hell are you talking about?" Kelly stepped closer, her heels crunching the gravel, her voice lowered. "Do you think you were the first person I stole from?" "No, but you're the first one who actually made progress worth taking. And you know why? I said nothing. Because you would have never gotten credit, she hissed. You were invisible, Saffron. Middle-aged, quiet, overlooked. You've been at this company for 20 years and no one noticed you. I took your work and put it in front of people who mattered. I made it shine. Without me, it would have sat in your dusty folders forever. Her words sliced through me. My throat burned. So I should thank you for destroying me, she smirked, for making your research matter. Anger surged, but beneath it, doubt wormed its way in. Was there truth in what she said? Had I been invisible, would anyone have listened to me without her? I clenched my fists. You don't get to rewrite this. You betrayed me. Kelly's expression hardened. And you're betraying me now, aren't you? With Adler. My blood ran cold. What did you say? Her eyes glinted. Oh, don't look so surprised. You think I don't know who's been whispering in your ear? Adler or Daniel. Whatever name he's using this time. Did he tell you what happened at his last company? My chest tightened. She knew. He's playing you, she continued, her tone almost pitying. He doesn't care about justice. He doesn't care about you. He just wants revenge. On me, on everyone. You're just convenient. I shook my head, but doubt was spreading like poison. Kelly leaned closer, her perfume sharp in the night air. You're smarter than this, Saffron. Walk away. Let me handle Daniel. He's dangerous. Her words echoed in my ears, colliding with the anonymous messages, with the doubts I'd buried. Why should I trust you? I whispered. Kelly's smile returned, softer this time, almost sincere. Because unlike him, I don't need to use you. For a moment, silence hung between us. The wind rustled the trees, the lamppost buzzed faintly. And then I saw it, a figure moving at the edge of the park, watching. My breath caught. It was Adler, his face half hidden in shadow, his eyes fixed on us. Kelly saw him too. Her expression darkened. Looks like your new friend doesn't like you talking to me. I turned back, panic rising in my chest. Adler stepped forward, slow, deliberate. His voice carried across the empty park. Well, isn't this cozy? My knees felt weak, trapped between them. Kelly on one side, Adler on the other, both smiling, both liars. And me, caught in the middle. The night air was thick with tension. Kelly on one side, her arms crossed, smirking like she was in control. Adler, Daniel, on the other, stepping closer, his shadow stretching across the gravel. And me, frozen between them, my heart pounding so hard I thought they could hear it. Daniel's voice sliced through the silence. What lies has she been feeding you, Saffron? Kelly laughed coldly. Lies? Please, I'm the only one telling her the truth. My throat tightened. Both of you, stop. I'm not some pawn in your little war. Daniel's eyes never left mine. Don't listen to her. She's manipulating you, like she manipulates everyone. Everything she said to you tonight, she's rehearsed it 100 times before. She's good at this game. Kelly sneered. And you're not. Tell her, Daniel. Tell her why you really want me destroyed. His jaw clenched. For the first time, I saw hesitation in his eyes. Kelly stepped closer to me, her perfume heavy in the damp air. He doesn't care about you, Saffron. He only cares about revenge. Did he tell you how he got fired? Did he tell you about the fraud? I looked at Daniel. His fists were tight at his sides, his chest heaving. Answer her, I demanded, my voice shaking. Is it true? Silence. Then finally, Daniel growled. I did what I had to do. They tried to bury me, just like she buried you. I took back what was mine. The words made my skin crawl. They sounded too much like Kelly. Kelly tilted her head, smiling like a cat who'd caught a mouse. See? He's no better than me. Maybe worse. Daniel's voice rose, sharp and desperate. Don't you see? That's why I'm the only one who understands you. We've both been cheated, both been erased. Together, we can make her pay. His words pressed against me, heavy, seductive. For a moment, I wanted to believe him, to believe someone understood my pain. But then Kelly leaned in, her whisper hot in my ear. If you stick with him, he'll drag you down with him. And when he's done, he'll leave you behind, just like he did everyone else. I wanted to scream. My head was spinning, my heart racing, caught between two liars who both claimed to be on my side. Stop it, I shouted. My voice cracked in the stillness. Both of you are poison, and I'm done letting anyone use me. For a moment, silence. Then Daniel's tone shifted. Lower, colder. You think you can do this without me? You're wrong. You don't have the reach, the connections, the guts. Without me, you'll fail. And she'll win. Kelly smirked, her eyes glinting. Or maybe without him, you'll finally be free. Their voices echoed in my head, twisting, colliding. I turned away, pressing my palms to my temples, breathing hard. And that's when I saw it. A figure at the far end of the park, watching us. Not Kelly, not Daniel. Someone else. My stomach dropped. The anonymous texter. It had to be. They stepped closer, just enough for the lamppost to catch the edge of their hood. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I fumbled it out, screen glowing with a new message. Walk away now. Both of them are lying. Meet me tomorrow. I'll show you everything. My breath caught. Kelly noticed my reaction. Her eyes narrowed. Who's texting you? Daniel's gaze hardened. Who else have you been talking to, Saffron? I backed away, clutching my phone, panic rising in my chest. The two of them were circling closer, suspicion burning in their eyes. And all I could think was, I wasn't caught between two liars. I was caught in the middle of three. The next day dragged like a lifetime. At work, I could barely concentrate. Kelly strutted through the halls as if nothing had happened the night before, her heels clicking, her smile unwavering. Daniel didn't show his face, but I could feel his presence like a shadow trailing me. And all the while, my phone burned in my pocket. The message. Meet me tomorrow, I'll show you everything. By the time the sun set, my nerves were frayed raw. I didn't tell anyone where I was going. I just drove. The texter had given me an address, an old parking garage on the edge of town. Deserted. The kind of place that reeked of damp concrete and rust. My headlights cut through the darkness as I pulled in, my tires echoing across the empty levels. At first, it felt like a mistake. The place was silent, dead. But then, a figure stepped out of the shadows. A woman. She wore a hooded jacket, her face half hidden until she pulled the hood back. Sharp eyes, dark hair streaked with gray. Older than me, maybe late 40s. You came, she said simply. I swallowed hard. Who are you? She smiled faintly. Someone who knows what Kelly and Daniel are really capable of. My chest tightened. You've been texting me. She nodded. I've been watching, making sure you don't walk straight into their trap. Her words chilled me. Their trap? She stepped closer, her voice low. They've played this game before. Together. I blinked. What do you mean, together? Kelly and Daniel, she said firmly. They've been working as a pair for years. She plays the golden star, the darling everyone loves. He plays the shadow, the one who swoops in with dirt, with leaks, with sabotage. They burn companies from the inside out, over and over, and they always leave someone else to take the fall. My stomach lurched. That's impossible. They hate each other. Her eyes glinted. Do they? Or is that just what they want you to believe? I shook my head, heart racing. No, Daniel gave me proof. He showed me files, evidence. Evidence he wanted you to see, she cut in. Just enough to reel you in, to make you trust him, to make you their weapon. Her words pressed against my skull, heavy, suffocating. Could it be true? Was I being played by both of them? I whispered, Why are you telling me this? The woman's expression darkened. Because I was one of their victims. 5 years ago, different city, different company. Kelly took my work. Daniel leaked my mistakes. By the time the dust settled, my career was ashes. And they walked away clean. My knees felt weak. I clutched the railing of the garage, the metal cold under my hand. I won't let them do it to me, I whispered. She stepped closer, her eyes fierce. Then you need to stop playing their game. Forget the slow plan. Forget the conference. If you wait, they'll twist the story before you can. You have to hit first, and you have to hit hard. Her urgency clawed at me. My mind spun. For weeks I'd been careful, deliberate, waiting for the perfect moment. But what if she was right? What if waiting meant walking straight into their trap? I shook my head. I don't even know your name. Why should I trust you? She hesitated, then said softly, Call me Rowan. I didn't know if that was real or another mask, but her eyes burned with a rawness I recognized. Pain, betrayal. Before I could speak, she pressed a small envelope into my hand. Inside, everything you need. Proof they've been working together. Emails, photos, financial ties. Use it. Expose them both. I clutched the envelope, my fingers trembling. And then, footsteps echoed across the garage. I spun around. Daniel. He stepped out of the shadows, his voice sharp. Well, looks like I'm not the only one keeping secrets. Rowan's face tightened. You shouldn't be here. Daniel smirked. And yet, here I am. His eyes slid to me. Careful, Saffron. She's not who she says she is. My pulse pounded in my ears. The envelope in my hand felt like it weighed 100 pounds. Rowan glared at him. Don't listen to him. He'll drag you down just like he dragged me. Daniel's gaze burned into mine. She's lying. Whatever's in that envelope. It's a setup. Don't fall for it. Their voices clashed, echoing in the empty garage. I staggered back, heart racing, clutching the envelope like a lifeline. 2 liars on one side, a possible liar on the other, and me, with the truth trembling in my hands. I opened my mouth to speak, but before I could, headlights blazed across the garage. A sleek black car screeched to a halt. The door swung open, and Kelly stepped out. The squeal of tires still rang in my ears as Kelly stepped out of the sleek black car. Her heels struck the concrete with deliberate clicks, echoing through the empty garage. Her eyes swept over the 3 of us, me, Rowan, Daniel, like a queen surveying traitors. Well, she said smoothly, what a charming little gathering. My breath came shallow, my heart hammering in my chest. I gripped the envelope tighter, as if it could anchor me. Daniel crossed his arms, his voice sharp. You shouldn't be here. Kelly smirked. Neither should you, yet here we all are. Rowan shifted closer to me, protective, like a shield. She knows what you 2 have been doing, Rowan said firmly. The game is over. Kelly's laugh bounced off the concrete walls, cold and cutting. Oh, Rowan, still playing the bitter ex-employee? Still spinning stories because you couldn't keep up? Rowan's jaw clenched. You destroyed my career, both of you, but this time, you won't get away with it. Kelly rolled her eyes. Honestly, it's pathetic. You cling to the past like it means something. Saffron's smarter than you. She knows I gave her work a platform it never would have had otherwise. Her words hit me like stones. But before I could reply, Daniel stepped forward, his voice rising. Stop pretending you did her a favor. You've stolen from everyone you've ever met. And now, the truth is coming out. Kelly's smile sharpened. And who will reveal it? You? The disgraced fraud who can't keep his own record clean? Or Rowan, with her conspiracy theories? You all look desperate, pathetic. Her eyes locked onto mine, piercing, steady. But you, Saffron, you don't have to sink with them. You could walk away, right now. I'll forget this little phase. You'll keep your job. No one will ever know. The offer dangled in the air like a poisoned apple. Rowan hissed. Don't listen to her. Daniel snapped. She'll bury you alive if you give her the chance. My head spun. Their voices clashed, blending into noise. My hand shook around the envelope, its edges digging into my skin. Finally, I shouted, Enough! The echo silenced them. For a moment, the only sound was the drip of water somewhere in the shadows. I looked at Kelly. You stole my life's work? I looked at Daniel. And you? You're just like her, maybe worse. I looked at Rowan. And you want me to believe you're different, but how do I know this envelope isn't just another lie? Rowan's eyes burned. Because I've already lost everything. I've got nothing left to gain, except making sure they can't hurt anyone else. Kelly scoffed. Spare us the martyr act. Daniel leaned closer, his tone sharp, almost desperate. Saffron, listen to me. If you want her ruined, you need me. Rowan can't help you. She'll drag you down. But me? I can make sure everyone sees Kelly for what she is. Kelly's voice sliced back. And what about what you are, Daniel? A thief? A parasite? You're no savior. You're just another rat in the dark. The air pulsed with their venom. I felt trapped, suffocated. And then, without warning, Kelly snapped her fingers. From the black car, 2 men stepped out. Broad shoulders, dark suits. Their presence filled the garage like thunderclouds. Rowan stiffened. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Kelly's smirk widened. Did you really think I'd come here alone? No. I learned my lesson with you, Rowan. I don't make the same mistake twice. Daniel swore under his breath, his fists balling. This is a setup. Kelly's eyes glittered. Of course it is. She turned to me, her voice soft, coaxing. But it doesn't have to be your setup, Saffron. Hand me the envelope. Walk away. This never touches you. The guards took a step closer. Rowan hissed, Don't do it. That envelope is the only proof you have. If she gets it, you're finished. Daniel growled. If she gets it, we're all finished. My pulse thundered. The envelope burned in my hand. Kelly's guards loomed, waiting. And I realized, in that moment, I had to choose. Keep the envelope, hand it over, or do something none of them expected. My breath shook as I tightened my grip. And then I ran, straight for the stairwell. The sound of footsteps exploded behind me. Kelly shouting, Rowan yelling, Daniel cursing. My heart pounded as I fled into the dark, the envelope clutched against my chest. The stairwell smelled of dust and rusted metal. My shoes pounded the steps as I flew downward, clutching the envelope against my chest. Behind me, chaos erupted. Kelly's guards shouted. Rowan's voice echoed, furious. Daniel cursed, his footsteps heavy. Don't let her get away, Kelly's scream ricocheted off the concrete. My lungs burned, but I didn't stop. Down, down, down. My hands skimming the icy railing, sweat slicking my palms. I burst out into the ground level of the garage, the night air slapping my face. The streetlights flickered, the asphalt glistening with a thin sheen of rain. I sprinted across the lot, heart hammering. Then, headlights flared. A black SUV screeched around the corner, tires screaming against the wet pavement. One of Kelly's men leaned out the window, shouting into a radio. Panic surged through me. They were boxing me in. I darted between two parked cars, ducking low. The envelope crinkled in my grip. My whole body trembled. Footsteps thundered behind me. Daniel's voice roared, Saffron, stop! Don't run from me! I pressed myself against cold metal, chest heaving. Don't believe him. Don't believe any of them. The SUV slowed, its headlights sweeping the rows. I knew if they found me crouched there, it was over. I swallowed hard and made a choice. Clutching the envelope tight, I bolted again. This time, not toward the street, but toward the edge of the garage, where a narrow alley gaped between buildings. Shouts erupted. There she is! I sprinted into the alley, my breath ragged, shoes slapping puddles. Trash cans lined the walls, graffiti curling across the bricks. The SUV couldn't follow, too narrow, but the guards could. I risked a glance back. They were coming fast. Rowan, too, her face pale, determined. Daniel trailed, his expression unreadable. I pushed harder, legs screaming. My chest burned, and then a dead end. A chain-link fence loomed in front of me, topped with rusted barbed wire. My heart dropped. Behind me, footsteps closed in. Shadows stretched long against the walls. No way out, one of the guards growled. Adrenaline surged. I shoved the envelope down the front of my jacket, grabbed the fence, and climbed. The metal rattled under my weight. Hands reached for my legs. I kicked wildly, scraping my shin, pain flashing. Grab her, Kelly's voice shouted from somewhere behind them. I pulled myself higher, barbs tearing at my jacket, slicing my skin. Blood stung hot on my arm, but I didn't stop. With a final heave, I flung myself over the top and landed hard on the other side, my knees buckling. Pain shot up my legs. I forced myself up, staggered, and ran. Behind me, the guards cursed, scrambling at the fence. The street ahead was quiet, empty. Neon lights buzzed faintly from a closed diner. My whole body shook, but I didn't slow until I ducked into a narrow service doorway and pressed my back against the wall, gasping. The envelope was still there, pressed against my chest, my lifeline, my curse. My phone buzzed. Hands trembling, I pulled it out. A message flashed across the screen. If you want to survive this, meet me tomorrow morning. Pier 17. Come alone. The sender, Rowan. I stared, my mind reeling. Why would she help me now? Wasn't she part of the chaos back there? Before I could decide, another message came through, this time from Daniel. Don't trust Rowan. She'll hand you to Kelly. Meet me instead. I'll keep you safe. My stomach twisted. 2 offers. 2 snakes hissing promises. And then, a third buzz. Kelly, you can't outrun this, Saffron. Hand over the envelope tomorrow and you'll walk away untouched. Don't, and you'll regret it. 3 choices, 3 traps. I slid down against the wall, my breath ragged, tears stinging my eyes. The city hummed around me, uncaring. I whispered to myself, what the hell do I do? The envelope felt like it was burning through my jacket. Inside, truth, lies, or both. Enough to ruin lives. Maybe mine too. The night stretched endlessly as I sat there, alone, trembling. And in the shadows across the street, a silhouette lingered, watching. I wasn't sure if it was Rowan, or Daniel, or someone else entirely. But I knew one thing. The game wasn't over. It was only tightening its grip. The morning air at Pier 17 smelled of salt and diesel. Seagulls shrieked overhead, circling the rusted cranes. The water slapped against the pilings in a slow, relentless rhythm. I pulled my jacket tight, the envelope still pressed under my arm. My eyes scanned the fog drifting low across the dock. Every sound made me flinch. Every shadow looked like a threat. I'd come alone, but my phone still buzzed with unanswered messages. Rowan, Daniel, Kelly, all warning me against the others, all insisting they were the only one I could trust. But I trusted none of them. A figure emerged from the mist, my breath caught. Rowan. Her hair pulled back, her expression sharp, eyes scanning for danger. She raised her hand slightly. You came. I didn't move closer. Why should I believe you now? Her voice was low, steady. Because I don't want Kelly to win. Not again. That envelope proves everything. Timestamps, drafts, emails. With it, we can bury her for good. We? I asked, bitterness edging my voice. Rowan hesitated, then nodded. You and me, together. Before I could answer, another voice cut through the fog. Well, isn't this cozy? Daniel stepped out, hands in his pockets, a faint smile on his face. His eyes flicked between us. Didn't I warn you, Saffron? Rowan's just trying to use you, same as Kelly, same as everyone else. Rowan stiffened. You shouldn't be here. Daniel smirked. Neither should you. My pulse spiked. The pier felt suddenly smaller, boxed in. Then a slow clap echoed across the dock. Kelly? Her heels clicked against the weathered wood as she stepped into view, flanked by the same two guards from the garage. Well, well, she said, her smile sharp as glass. The whole dysfunctional family, reunited at last. The guards spread out, blocking the only exit from the pier. I took a step back, the water slapping against the pilings below me, trapped. Kelly's eyes locked on mine. You've had your fun, Saffron. The running, the games, the little alliances. But it ends here. Hand me the envelope. Rowan hissed, Don't you dare. Daniel stepped closer, his voice low. Give it to me, Saffron. I'll end this. I swear I will. The envelope burned against my ribs. My throat tightened. Kelly tilted her head, her voice almost gentle. You don't belong in this world, Saffron. You're not built for it. Give me what's mine, and you can walk away. Rowan's voice cut sharp. Don't listen. She'll chew you up and spit you out. Daniel's tone rose, urgent. I'm the only one who understands you. You know that. My breath came fast, my heart slamming. The fog pressed in, heavy, suffocating. 3 choices, none of them safe. And then I realized, maybe I didn't need to choose. My fingers trembled as I pulled the envelope from my jacket. All 3 of them leaned in, hungry eyes locked on it. Kelly whispered, yes. Rowan's hands balled into fists. Daniel's smile widened. And then I tore the envelope in half. Gasps ripped through the air. Kelly's eyes flared, wild with rage. What have you done? Rowan stumbled forward. No! Daniel lunged, shouting, You idiot! But before any of them could grab me, I tossed the shredded pieces into the wind. Paper fluttered like broken wings, scattering over the pier, some pieces falling into the water below. Chaos exploded. Kelly screamed for her guards. Rowan tried to snatch a fragment from the air. Daniel shoved past me, cursing, chasing scraps. And me? I stood still, my chest heaving, tears in my eyes. For the first time, they weren't controlling me. For the first time, I'd broken the game. But then, I saw Kelly's face harden, her rage crystallize into something colder. She pointed at me. Take her. The guards moved. My victory lasted only seconds. The guards closed in, boots thudding against the wooden pier. I stumbled backward, the shredded scraps of my research still fluttering across the water. No, I screamed. But my voice was swallowed by the crash of waves. One of them grabbed my arm, fingers like iron. I twisted, kicked, fought like hell, but it didn't matter. The other clamped down on my shoulder, shoving me forward. Kelly's heels clicked closer, calm, controlled, victorious. She crouched down just enough to look into my eyes. Her smile was a blade. You should have handed it over when you had the chance. Now you've lost your work, your leverage, and soon, your freedom. I spat at her feet. You'll never bury the truth. Someone will find it. Someone always does. Kelly's laugh was low, rich with contempt. Oh, Saffron, the truth isn't enough. It never is. The world believes what it's told, and I own the microphone. The guards shoved me toward the car parked at the end of the pier. My wrists were yanked behind me, a zip tie biting into my skin. Rowan's voice cut through the chaos. Let her go, Kelly. This isn't just about her anymore. It's about all of us. Kelly didn't even turn her head. Stay out of this, Rowan. You've already burned your last bridge. Daniel appeared at Rowan's side, his face pale, but his voice steady. She's right. You go through with this. You'll regret it. Kelly straightened, brushing invisible dust from her jacket. Regret is for the weak, and I've never been weak. The guards shoved me into the back seat of the car. The leather stuck to my skin, the smell of gasoline sharp in my nose. I kicked at the door, my throat raw with rage. You won't win. Kelly leaned down, her voice dripping with amusement. Oh, darling, I already have. The door slammed shut. Darkness wrapped around me. The car lurched forward, the pier fading into mist behind us. My chest heaved. My hands burned against the zip tie. Panic clawed up my throat. For the first time, I felt true terror. Not anger, not humiliation, pure fear. What if this is it? What if I disappear tonight and no one ever knows why? Tears blurred my vision. But then, deep inside, something hardened. If this was my end, I wasn't going quietly. I pressed my forehead against the window, heart racing. Outside, the city blurred by. Neon lights smeared against the rain. The guard in the passenger seat muttered into a radio. Package secured, heading to the drop. Package, like I wasn't even a person. I forced my breathing steady, brain sparking through the panic. They thought the envelope was gone. They thought my leverage had burned away with the scraps. But they were wrong. Because I remembered every word, every timestamp, every draft, every detail that proved the work was mine. It was etched into me, burned into memory. And I wasn't done yet. I leaned back, eyes narrowing. You think Kelly's untouchable, but she's not. You're all going down with her? The guard glanced back, sneering. Shut up. I smiled through the blood on my lip. You should be scared, because the truth's already out. His face faltered, just for a second, and I knew fear was a weapon too. The car rattled over a bridge, the river gleaming black beneath us. My pulse thundered, but I stayed still, calculating. Then, headlights flashed in the mirror. Another car, gaining fast. The guard cursed, turning in his seat. We've got company. My heart leapt. Rowan, Daniel, or someone else entirely. The driver swore and hit the gas. The engine roared, the city streaking past. The pursuing car swerved, headlights burning white. The guard raised his radio. We're compromised. Repeat, compromised. The chase exploded across the bridge. Tires screeching, horns blaring, rain hammering the windshield. Pinned in the back seat, wrists bound, I braced myself as the car jolted hard, metal screaming against metal. The world spun, the city lights fractured. And I realized this was no rescue. This was war. The car swerved hard, tires screaming against wet asphalt. I slammed against the door, wrists bound tight, lungs fighting for air. Rain hammered the windshield, a strobe of neon lights flashing across the glass. The bridge roared beneath us, the river below, black and endless. Behind, headlights cut through the mist, the second car chasing, gaining ground. The guard in the passenger seat shouted, "They're still on us." The driver cursed, jerking the wheel. The car fishtailed, slamming into the guardrail before straightening. I was thrown sideways, ribs colliding with the door, pain flared white. Kelly's voice snapped through the radio. Don't lose her, whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. I realized Kelly didn't care if I lived, only that the envelope was gone. To her, I was expendable. My panic hardened into fury. I twisted my wrists, the plastic tie slicing skin, blood slicking my hands. I pulled harder, teeth gritted. The pursuing car drew closer, horn blaring. A window rolled down, and for a split second I saw Rowan, her face pale, determined. Leaning out, waving frantically. Rowan! My chest tightened. Was she here to save me or claim me? The SUV jolted again. Sparks flew as metal scraped metal. Take them out, the guard barked. The driver swerved, sideswiping Rowan's car. It rocked, teetered dangerously near the guardrail. My heart stopped, but Rowan clung to the wheel, fighting it straight. The car roared back, slamming against us in return. Chaos, pure chaos. And I was caught in the middle, trapped. No, not trapped, not anymore. I drew in a ragged breath, then shoved my shoulder against the lock of the door. Useless, child-proof, controlled from the front. But the window? I lifted my bound wrists, slammed them against the glass. Once, twice. A crack spidered across the pane. The guard turned. What the hell are you doing? I threw my whole weight against it. The glass exploded outward, shards slicing my arm. Rain and wind blasted into the car. The guard lunged, grabbing my jacket. "You're insane!" I bared my teeth. "No, I'm free." And I threw myself out the window. The world spun, rain, screeching metal, blinding lights. I hit the slick pavement hard, rolling, pain ripping through every nerve. The sound of horns and screaming brakes filled the night. For a moment, everything was blur and fire in my bones. Then, arms grabbed me. Rowan's. She'd skidded to a halt, leapt out of her car, and now she was hauling me upright. Blood and rain mixing on my face. "Move," she shouted. "Get in!" I staggered, legs like jelly, and she shoved me into her car. Daniel was in the back seat, wide-eyed, his hands gripping the seat like he'd seen a ghost. My breath caught. "No time," Rowan barked, slamming the door. The SUV screeched to a halt behind us, doors flying open. Kelly's guards jumped out, guns glinting under the streetlights. Rowan floored it. Tires screamed. The car fishtailed before gripping, then shot forward into the storm. Bullets cracked against the metal. Glass shattered behind us. I ducked low, heart pounding. Daniel shouted over the chaos. "She's not going to stop, Saffron. Kelly will hunt you until you're gone." Rowan's jaw was set like stone. "Not if we finish this first." The car tore across the bridge, sparks of gunfire chasing us, sirens wailing in the distance. I clutched my bleeding arm, adrenaline surging. My voice was raw when I finally said it. "I'm done running." Rowan glanced at me, eyes sharp in the flashing lights. "Then get ready, because this doesn't end with escape. It ends with war." The safe house was a forgotten warehouse on the edge of the river. Rust streaked the walls, broken glass crunched underfoot, and the smell of oil and rain seeped through every crack. Rowan slammed the heavy door shut behind us, her chest heaving. Daniel collapsed onto a crate, running a hand through his soaked hair. I stood frozen in the middle of the room, arms trembling, jacket torn, blood still dripping from my arm. My voice was a rasp. "What the hell just happened out there?" Rowan's eyes blazed. "Kelly's losing control. She's desperate now. And desperate people are dangerous." Daniel snorted. "That's rich coming from you." Rowan spun on him, fury flashing. "Shut your mouth, Adler. You're part of this mess too. Don't pretend you're clean." His jaw clenched. I never pretended. I raised a shaking hand. "Enough. I don't care about your feud. I need the truth. All of it. Right now." Silence settled heavy, broken only by the drip of water somewhere in the shadows. Finally, Rowan sighed, her voice low. "Kelly didn't just steal from you, Saffron. She's been building her empire off other people's work for years. Mine, Daniel's, countless others. She uses us, chews us up, and spits us out." Daniel's bitter laugh echoed. "And some of us played her game for too long." His eyes met mine, dark and tired. "Yes, I bent the rules. Yes, I cheated. But it was survival. And in the end, she still cut me loose. That's what she does." The words twisted in my gut. I wanted to scream at them both. For lying, for using me, for dragging me into their war. But beneath the anger, something else pulsed. Recognition. We were all Kelly's ghosts. Different stories, same betrayal. Rowan crouched in front of me, her voice urgent. "You still have the knowledge. Every detail of your work, memorized. That's enough. We don't need scraps of paper. We need exposure. We leak everything at once. To the press, to the board, to the public. All of it." Daniel shook his head. "Not that simple. She owns too many people. If we push blindly, she'll spin it, bury us alive." "Then we don't push blindly," Rowan snapped. "We plan. We hit her where she can't cover." I pressed my palm against my arm, the wound throbbing. My voice was barely above a whisper. "And if she comes for us first?" Daniel leaned forward, eyes sharp. "Then we make sure she doesn't get the chance." The air thickened with the weight of his words. Kill or be killed. I felt the chill of the river seep into my bones. But in that cold, something fierce sparked. I'd been humiliated, broken, hunted, but not destroyed. "Not yet." I straightened, my voice steady. "Then we don't wait. We end this. Tonight." Rowan's gaze locked with mine. "Are you sure?" My hand still shook, but my words didn't. "She took everything from me. Now I take it back." Daniel's mouth curved in a grim smile. "Finally." Rowan moved to an old table, spreading out a battered laptop and a pile of burner phones. "We'll split the tasks. I'll crack her communications. Daniel, you prep the leaks. Saffron." She looked at me, steady. You decide where it all lands. Who gets the truth first? I swallowed hard. Power. Terrifying, fragile power. My fingers brushed the keyboard. I could already see it. The emails, the drafts, the proof pouring into the light. Her empire rotting under the sun. For the first time in months, hope burned through me. But just as quickly, dread followed. Because I knew Kelly wouldn't wait quietly while we sharpened our knives. And outside, in the storm, I swore I heard the echo of tires on wet pavement. The hunters weren't far. The warehouse buzzed with tension. Rowan's fingers flew across the battered laptop, screens glowing with stolen access points. Daniel paced like a caged animal, muttering strategies under his breath. And me, I sat at the center of it all, my heart pounding, staring at the blank draft of an email. One click could change everything. One click could burn Kelly's empire to the ground. Rowan muttered, "I've breached her comms. Her private server's open. We can dump it all. Messages, contracts, payoffs. She won't see it coming." Daniel's voice snapped sharp. "Too obvious. She'll spin it as a hack, claim it's fake. We need witnesses. We need her own words to surface in real time." They turned to me. I swallowed. "So, we bait her. Make her talk. Make her confess." Rowan's lips curved into a grim smile. "Exactly." Daniel nodded slowly. "And I know how." Before I could ask, headlights sliced through the warehouse cracks. An engine rumbled outside. Rowan froze. "She's here." Panic spiked through me. How did she find us?" Daniel's face hardened. "She always finds us." The heavy door rattled under a pounding fist. Kelly's voice, smooth as venom, seeped through the steel. "You think I wouldn't know? You think you could hide from me?" Rowan hissed, "Keep her talking." Daniel grabbed a burner phone, hit record, and motioned for me to speak. My throat was dry, but I forced the words out. "Kelly, why steal from me? From all of us?" Her laughter was low, indulgent. "Because you were too weak to use it. You create. I conquer. That's the way of the world, darling." Rowan typed furiously, capturing every word through the open channel. Kelly's voice sharpened. "Open the door, now, or I'll burn this place to the ground with you in it." Daniel pressed the phone closer to my lips, whispering, "Push her." I swallowed my fear and spat the words. "You ruined me. Years of work, stolen. You lied to everyone. You think they'll keep believing you?" Kelly's tone dropped. Dangerous. "Of course they will. They always do. They want winners, not whiners. History is written by those ruthless enough to write it. And I write it all." Rowan's eyes widened. She mouthed, "Got it." But then the pounding stopped. Silence pressed in. And in that silence, the hiss of gasoline. Rowan's head jerked up. "Oh God!" Through the cracks in the wall, I saw the shimmer of liquid spreading across the concrete. The acrid smell burned my throat. Kelly wasn't bluffing. She was going to torch us alive. Daniel swore, sprinting to the door. "We have to move. Now." Rowan grabbed the laptop, shoving it into a backpack. "We got her voice, but if we die here, it dies with us." I stumbled after them, the fear raw and primal. Flames licked to life outside, shadows flickering through the gaps. Kelly's voice rose over the crackle. "Come out or burn." Rowan shoved a side door open. "This way." We bolted into the storm, rain pelting down in heavy sheets. Behind us, fire roared, the warehouse coughing smoke into the night. Kelly stood under an umbrella, her guards flanking her, the flames reflecting in her eyes like hellfire. She smiled, calm in the chaos. "You run, you hide, you scream, but in the end, you'll always lose." Daniel barked, "Not tonight." Sirens wailed in the distance, closer, louder. Kelly's smirk faltered, just for a heartbeat. Rowan's grin was sharp. "We sent it. Live feed. Your confession's already spreading. By the time the cops get here, it won't matter what you burn." Kelly's eyes blazed. "You—" But the storm drowned her words, because in that moment, I realized the game had shifted. For the first time, Kelly was cornered. And for the first time, I wasn't the hunted. The storm howled as sirens split the night. Red and blue lights strobed against the rain-slick pier, reflecting off the smoke still curling from the burning warehouse. Kelly stood frozen, her umbrella trembling as the police cars screeched to a stop. Officers poured out, shouting commands, guns raised. Her guards tensed, reaching for their weapons. But Kelly raised her hand, halting them. For once, her composure cracked. Rowan stepped forward, rain plastering her hair to her face. She shouted over the chaos. "We have her confession, recorded, streamed. The world's already watching." Daniel lifted the burner phone, its screen glowing with the live feed. Comments scrolled in real time, thousands of eyes consuming every word Kelly had just spoken. I felt the weight of the moment crash down on me. For months I'd been hunted, humiliated, silenced. Now, finally, her mask was ripped away. Kelly's voice wavered, but she tried to sneer. "You think this matters? You think they'll believe you over me?" I stepped forward, my entire body trembling, but my voice strong. "They don't need to believe me. They heard you." Her eyes flicked, wild, desperate, calculating. I saw the truth in her then. Not power, not control, just fear. The officers moved in, pinning her guards to the ground. Kelly's umbrella slipped from her grasp, tumbling into the fire-lit puddles. She tried one last time, her voice sharp, almost pleading. "Saffron, wait, we can make a deal. I can give you everything you ever wanted. Recognition, wealth, power. You don't have to do this." I stared at her, rain running down my face like tears. "I never wanted your power. I just wanted the truth." Her mouth opened, but no words came. The cuffs snapped around her wrists. For the first time, Kelly Lee looked small. The sirens wailed. The crowd that had gathered along the river shouted and filmed on their phones. Her empire was burning not just in flames, but in reputation, in real time. Rowan touched my arm, her voice softer now. "It's over. You did it." Daniel stood behind her, silent, rain streaking his face. For once, no smirk, no sarcasm, just quiet resignation. I wanted to collapse, to scream, to laugh. Instead, I just whispered, "We did it." But deep down, I knew it wasn't really victory. Not yet. Because no matter what happened to Kelly, the scars she left on me would never fully fade. Hours later, I sat alone in my apartment, wrapped in a blanket, my arm bandaged. The city outside was quiet, damp with rain. News anchors blared from my laptop. Corporate scandal unfolding live tonight as Kelly Lee, celebrated executive and rising star, was arrested following shocking revelations. Clips of her confession replayed, her arrogance immortalized, dissected, mocked. Justice, or as close as I'd ever get. My phone buzzed. A text from Rowan, "We'll testify. Together." Another from Daniel, "You'll never be alone in this again." I stared at the messages, conflicted. Could I really trust them? Or were they just different shades of broken, like me? I closed my eyes, breathing deep. For the first time in months, the air didn't taste like fear. It tasted like freedom. I thought of the younger version of myself, full of hope, believing in fairness, in hard work, in loyalty. That girl was gone, but in her place stood someone stronger, someone forged in betrayal, tempered by fire. I whispered into the empty room, "Never again." Days later, I walked through the quiet park where it all began. The place where Rowan and Daniel had first confronted me. The place I'd felt most powerless. Now I stood tall. People stared at me differently, not as a victim, but as the woman who'd brought down Kelly Lee. I didn't crave their approval. I didn't need their pity. What I needed, what I finally had, was my voice back. And I intended to use it. To tell the story, to warn others, to make sure no one else was swallowed the way I had been. Kelly's empire was gone, but my war wasn't just against her. It was against the silence she'd thrived on. And I had broken it. As I left the park, the sun broke through the clouds, light spilling across the wet pavement. It felt like a new beginning. Not perfect, not easy, but mine. And for the first time in a long, long time, I wasn't afraid.